Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Mat 170 concept session. Today, we're going to be looking at how to solve a quadratic equation by completing the square. My name is Nick, and I work with the ASU Tutoring Centers on campus, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I kind of want to cover before we even get into this problem is to just go over the general form of what we're going to be using in order to complete the square. So if you recall back to foiling, so I'm just going to write down an example here. So we have x minus a squared. Now, a can be any constant, right? So like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on and so forth. Any kind of integer, positive or negative, it doesn't matter. And when we square it, we actually get something that looks like this. And if you recall, in order to solve this kind of problem, we have to use something that's called foiling, right? And once we FOIL, we actually get what equals x squared minus 2ax, and then plus a squared. Now, this is the general form that we get from this. And we're actually going to be using this to help us complete the square when solving for a quadratic equation. Now, if you recall from a different concept session called solving a quadratic equation by factoring, the general form for factoring, right, is looking at factors of c that add up to b, right? But that only works for equations where that's valid, right? And in this case, this equation, that's not valid. There are no factors of -3 that add up to -4, right? So whenever that's the case, one way to solve an equation like that is by completing the square. And to get things started, what we're first going to do is so first off, remember that this equals 0, right? And what we're going to do is add 3 to the other side. So we have 5x squared minus 4x equals 3. Now, next, before we even do anything else, I want to get rid of this 5 because it makes the problem just a bit ugly, right? So what we can do is divide each part by 5. So those 5's go away. So we're left with x squared minus 4/5 x equals 3/5. Now from here, if you notice, this equation looks a little bit similar to what we have over here, x squared minus 2ax plus a squared. But the only thing we're missing is that a squared. And what we need to do is actually solve for a. So we have this -2ax here, which is kind of similar to this -4/5 x, right? Still, they both have an x, right, to a power of 1. And what we can do is actually equal that out. So we can do -2a equals -4/5. And then what we can do here is solve for the -2. So we divide all of this by -2, and we get that a is equal to 2/5, positive 2/5. Now what we can do is plug it in because we need the a squared here, right? So a squared is equal to 2/5 times 2/5, right? Which is 4/25. Now, once we do that, we can actually plug everything back in. So we have our x squared minus 4/5 x plus our 4/25. But if we add 4/25 or 4/25 to one side of the equation, we also have to add it to the other side. So that means we're also going to add 4/25 to the 3/5 as well. Now from here, what we can do is just do a little bit of reduction, right? So what we know from this equation up here is that we have x squared minus 2ax plus a squared, right? And what we were able to do is calculate that here. And we know what our a equals, right? So what we can do is rewrite this to be x minus 2/5 squared equals, and then 3/5 plus 4/25, which is equal to 19/25. Now from here, what we can do is start solving for x. So we can square root both sides to get rid of the squared here. So we're left with x minus 2/5 equals the square root of 19/25. So it's really important that you remember to add the plus and minus when you're square rooting, because technically it can be either sign. So we have that. And then from there, what we can do is just add 2/5 over to get us x equals plus or minus the square root of 19/25 plus 2/5. So it's a little messy. And if you recall, just to refresh on the plus and minus system, that means we do have two solutions, right? The positive of the square root 19/25 plus 2/5, and then the negative square root 19/25 plus 2/5. So that is how you solve a quadratic equation by completing the square. Hopefully that was able to help you out a little bit, but if you have any other questions, go ahead and log on to tutoring.asu.edu for more information about all of the different free resources that you have at your disposal from being an ASU student. We have multiple tutoring centers on all 4 major campuses, as well as an online tutoring center. So definitely check us out on our website for more information about hours of operation and specific locations. If you enjoyed this concept video, go ahead and click on that link, the other link on your screen, and that'll direct you to a document that lists out all of the different concept sessions for MAT 170. So you can check those out at any time. But other than that, that's all I have for you today. So I hope you have a great rest of your day and good luck in your course.